You guys may have heard of the Cheer collection before, or maybe you saw the pop up shop at a recent Cheer event. The cheercollection.com is inspirational and beautiful style for every cheer enthusiast. And right now, we are accepting applications for those in the cheer community who want to be ambassadors for the Cheer collection. It's an exciting time to hop on board with a new small company, and we are looking for all hands on deck. So if you're looking to partner up with a brand, get some social media experience under your belt, or just want to have fun meeting other people in the cheer community from all over, head over to thecheercollection.com and click on the ambassador link to learn more. The application will close on January 31st.
Has anyone else noticed at events that popular pop songs are sneaking back into the cheer routine music? Has anyone else noticed that? Like, they never fully went away, and I don't know the legal stuff behind that. For those, let's just do a really quick crash course on music. You can listen to the music episode with behind the scenes from Alex LaGrossa. Shout out to Alex and Twisted Cuts because he did a phenomenal job with that interview, but also he wrote, created, and produced the theme music for the Cheer Mom podcast. Just about any sound that you hear associated with this podcast has been created by Alex. So shout out to him, Twisted Cuts, for all your music needs. He made my dreams come true, not only by writing a personalized custom theme song for this show, which you guys are telling me you sing, which I think is so cool because like I have podcasts that I listen to and I sing their theme song. So it's really cool. Not only did he make that dream come true, as you guys may know, he made my dream of being in a cheer mix come true. I heard that at an event. It was like the coolest thing to hear my voice fill a competition venue. There's nothing like it. But anyway, so quick crash course on music. This is not what the podcast episode is about. Back in the day, back in like 2015 and earlier, all cheer music was made up. It was a mashup. It was a remix of popular top 50, top 100 songs. So you would have like anything from Beyonce to One Republic to who sings Shut Up and Dance with Me? I always forget. Anyway, you guys know, and you guys know. So that was kind of fun for a little bit because at the beginning of every season, I would try to guess which song would show up in mix after mix after mix, and Shut Up and Dance was one of them. If I ever heard that song at a cheer competition again, I don't know what I was going to be able to do. But in about like 2016, they said no more. There's all kinds of licensing and copyright laws around this music, and most events are streaming the event. So it's not my understanding, I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding is if you're in the venue, it's not that big of a deal to have those songs. So it's when you are distributing it or streaming it is when you run into trouble. And there could be things around altering somebody else's art and all of that. But it's the reason why your favorite band is able to do a cover of your other favorite band's song at their concert, but you'll never hear it on an album because they can sing a cover of it at their concert. But then once they produce it and put it on an album and really make money off of it, that's when they have to pay royalties and licensing fees and all of that. That's my guess. So because all of these events want to stream, it became really sticky, and I think there were lawsuits. I'm not really sure, but I think there were lawsuits or imminent lawsuits over music. So they had to stop doing all of the pop music, and that's when, again, there was an increase in price for cheer because the music fees went up. And at the time, there were only just a few music producers who were approved to make these cheer mixes. It's a whole thing. Okay. So this is why you probably will hear all original music, sound effects, voiceovers, and things in a cheer mix. But some programs either paid for the licensing, or maybe there's a few songs that say Taylor Swift says, okay, you can use this song for whatever. I'm not really sure. So maybe there were a few approved songs that were allowed in cheer mixes. So it never really went away, but it's very uncommon now to hear mainstream songs in a cheer mix. But I've been at a few events already this season, I think like 5 or 6 now. And I'm starting to hear recognizable songs again, and I'm wondering what's up with that. So there's a little crash course, but if anyone else has noticed and you know something, let me know. I mean, luckily it's not Shut Up and Dance over and over again. Luckily it's not, what's another one? Oh my gosh. It was a lot, and you heard the same stuff. Anyway, today's episode, speaking of cheer events and cheer competitions, indeed, I have been to, I just counted it up. I've been to 8. I've been to 8 already. I'm recording this in mid-January, and I have already been to 8 different cheer events. Yeah, I'm counting that right. 8. Anyway, well, I have noticed a lot of things at these cheer events. Here on the Cheer Mom podcast, the Cheer Mom Hive, the community that we have, a lot of times we unite over a common enemy. If that enemy is expensive cheer fees or practice every single day, we can all commiserate and relate together. But today, I'm going to talk a little bit about some cheer competition. We're going to call it cheer competition etiquette. But I think what's going to happen is I'm going to gripe and get on my soapbox and vent and talk about my pet peeves. And so there will be some things in here that you are all going to be like, yes, amen, sister. And we're all going to be in the same boat. But I think at one point or another, I'm going to offend all of you same people. You're going to feel personally attacked. And I'm sorry, but it's my podcast. I can talk about whatever I want. And I might just give you a few things to think about. Just keep in mind, we are all friends here. We're all friends. I love you. Okay? I'm going to start and I'm going to end the podcast episode with, I love you. We're in this together. We are a community. But let's talk about some things at cheer competitions that need to change.
All the moms in the world, let's chat it up. We're talking competitions, uniforms, and all of the above. It's the Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Moms, your podcast is on.
These are all in random order. But let's start with a soft one that we can all agree on. Why is the food vendor staff never quite ready for us at a cheer competition? I have some theories, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The lines are almost always too long. The food is almost never ready. They run out of things. They don't have enough staff to be prepared for us. So for me, now with the pop-up and having the cheer collection at all these events, that's why I'm going to all these events. Like cheerleading is fun and I enjoy it, but I'm not just like going to these events for my health. I have a pop-up. So for me, it's usually just 1 or 2 of us running the pop-up, running the vendor booth. So there is not much time to do anything. And if we go do something, it needs to be quick because you guys love the cheer collection so much that you keep us busy and we love it. We like it. However, if the food staff is not prepared and the line is 20 minutes long, guess who doesn't get to eat? Your vendors. You don't get to eat. So I know that you all feel that pain with waiting in long lines and then them running out of things like all of the time. They run out of things. And then it's compounded for me because it's like, well, didn't get to eat today. So that's a thing. I am going to need to start packing my own snacks. I've said this. I've actually purchased snacks, but I keep forgetting to bring them. It's my own fault, but that's what's happening. And bless some of you who have graciously brought me coffee and a snack that you could find. Like, you have no idea. No, like, it's happened twice. It's happened at 2 different events. And the people who brought them to me literally like brought me to tears. Like, oh my gosh, thank you. So, okay, the food staff is almost never prepared for us. My theory is because it's expensive. Staffing is the most expensive part of the food and restaurant industry. It's the most expensive part of a large venue, like at a convention center. And honestly, it's hard to predict what is going to be needed and when, unless you have an event producer who really knows their audience. But it's a tough thing. I know from my husband has been in the restaurant industry for as long as he's had a job, and staffing is tough, and knowing how many people are going to be there. The people in charge of the food vendors don't always know those things. It's not always well communicated by the person in charge of the event. There are lots of layers to all of that, and they don't always know what's going on. And so that's what happens with long lines and short-staffed, and they didn't order enough of their nasty cardboard frozen pizzas to cover all of us. So I think that's why that happens, and I think that's why at places like I think NCA does a great job at the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center. Their vendor options have really one-upped, and I think it's because Justin Carrier, who runs that event, has been doing it for a long time and has a relationship with those people, and they kind of know what to expect. I'm going to do an episode on NCA in just a few weeks, so I'll talk more about that. But the food staff is not prepared for us. The long lines at all of that stuff, it's not it. It's not it. Okay, next. Competition pet peeve. There are no places to charge your phone. You would think in this day and age, when they are doing facial recognition in public places, they are doing self-checkout. Oh, back to the food thing. These places have self-checkout. Like, why is it still a thing that why? They have self-checkout, they have all this technology, but they can't set up like a charging station. It costs nothing extra. Literally, like, set up a cocktail table with some power strips, honestly. I mean, I know that there's like those high-tech places where you can put your credit card in and charge, and somebody is making money off of that. I don't prefer that. But at these convention centers, like, dudes, it does not cost you anything to just literally plug something in and let us be able to charge our phones. I don't know about you, but it doesn't matter if I have the newest phone or not. After a season, or even just after a day of all the videos and all the pictures and checking the band and all of the notifications that come in through my phone, inevitably, my battery is going to die. All of the things that go into a cheer competition day, we're talking about poor service in most of these venues. So your phone is spending extra battery looking for service, looking for a Wi-Fi connection. Then there's the aforementioned group chats that are pinging and going off, and that takes battery. And you are responding to the group chats. You're asking questions. Then there are the pictures. There's the GPSing to the venue. There's the scanning of your phone to scan your tickets and buying the tickets, and you're still finding a signal. The battery is going to die. The battery's going to die. And I'm all for one of the things that you need to put in your competition day bag is a portable charger. But you think that they would have solved that problem at these venues by now. That there just should be a place. Do you know how many parents I've seen like sitting in the corner on the floor in some weird, awkward position behind a trash can because that's where the outlet is? And if they don't plug in now, like they're not going to be able to get their Uber ride home, or they're not going to be able to call their daughter to see where she is at the end of her performance. Get us some charging stations, people. All right, you guys are with me. I know that you are all agreeing. I know that I am. If this were a church, people would be fanning their faces and shouting amen and pointing and going, yes. This is where I'm going to start to lose some of you. Competition day pet peeve. You guys, do you have to be doing your makeup in the bathroom? Athletes, do we really need to be doing makeup in the bathroom? Let me tell you what's happening in those bathrooms. It's not just you doing makeup. It's the sheer number of people in the bathroom. It's the number of paper towels that are being used and wasted. It is the body heat that goes into the bathroom when there are 20 girls doing makeup. There is the chaos and the noise when all I gotta do is pee. I just need to pee. And hearing you talk about Susie such and such, and while you're making a mess around the sink and taking up valuable sink space, listen, that's not as, maybe I can get over that. Maybe I can get over the whole thing. But women, you know what I'm talking about. Like, everybody's been to a bridesmaids getting ready session. Everyone's been to some kind of group makeup session. It is chaos. It is messy. It is loud. And I think that it is unnecessary at a cheer competition. I believe, and this is going to come up a few times in this episode, I believe that you need to show up to the venue bow to toe ready. You have a hotel room. Maybe if it's local, you're at home. Why are we doing makeup after we get there? Let's be bow to toe ready. Speaking of bow to toe ready, why are we doing hair in the hallways and common areas? You guys, this makes us look unprofessional, and I don't understand the logic of plopping down literally in the middle of traffic, even if that's along the wall of where everything is happening. I don't understand the need to fully do hair in that place. I understand that there are exceptions, that there are crossovers who need to change their hair. I understand that not every athlete and not every mom is capable of doing the upside down, twisted inside out French pony with a bun and a tease. I understand all of this, that not everybody can do hair. And so doing hair at home may not be an option for you. But does it have to be? Do we have to like invade the entire convention center? Do we have to be in the way of traffic and just like move in at these cheer competition events? Now, believe me, it's convenient when I need a bobby pin, which I did a few events ago. And I literally just walked up to someone. I was like, do you have a bobby pin? And they're like, oh yeah, here you go. But why? Why do we have to do hair? Why are we teasing ponytails outside of the red ballroom, outside of meeting room 5? There are some ways around this. Like I said, I know that sometimes you have to have hair done at the venue. But for starters, we don't fill up the entire venues where performances are happening. There are plenty of empty seats. But just about anywhere you go, unless you're sitting in the arena at NCA, there is going to be an empty seat in one of the performance halls. I understand that it's loud. I get all of that. But can you find a seat to park in and do hair there? Can you find a way far off corner out, hidden in a discreet area to do what you need to do? Why do we have to have entire teams, literally entire teams, doing their hair at the venue at the same time in the middle of everything? Next up, I'm going to get in trouble for this one because basically everyone does this. And you guys are going to be like, but what about, and what if, and you don't know, and that's not that big of a deal. Call me old-fashioned. I love the idea of our athletes being taken seriously. We talk about wanting cheer to be taken seriously as a sport. We talk about wanting our athletes to be taken seriously. And that does not just start with the athleticism when they take the mat. If you watch any football team, any professional sport, and most college sports, that starts with the minute they step off the plane, the second that their toe hits the step on the bus. Appearances mean a lot. And if you'll notice, if you've ever clapped in your favorite sports team or gone to the little pep rally right before the college football game, you will notice most of those athletes are either in suit and tie or they are in team-approved warm-ups. You don't see them bumming around unshowered. You don't see them in whatever. They are dressed professionally and it's game face on. If we want our athletes to be taken seriously, if we want cheer to be respected, let's start even just with like respected. I think that we need to look, dress, and act the part. And that needs to start with the second that they step foot out of the car, in the parking lot of the venue, out of the bus. I understand that pajama pants and Uggs or slippers are comfortable and warm. I understand that cheerleading happens during the winter months when it is cold, freezing, raining, you name it, and that pajama pants and Uggs feel like the most comfortable solution. But call me old-fashioned, I think it's a bad look. I appreciate a team that shows up ready to go, ready to roll. At our old gym, athletes were required to wear specific clothing on the plane. Even if you were getting to the competition days before it started, you were required to wear your warm-up jacket, black leggings, and athletic shoes. You didn't have to wear your cheer shoes. You didn't have to wear a bow, but you had to look uniform and professional. I think that we would do well to all do a form of that.
What up, party people? This is Jason Larkins, host of the Let's Talk Cheer podcast, and I've teamed up with Kristen Wheeler of the Cheer Mom podcast and Dan Cotton of the Cheer Biz podcast.
That's right. Hey, everybody, Kristen here. We know that you love cheer, so why not dive into more perspectives? Tune into my podcast, the Cheer Mom podcast, for cheer issues spoken from the parent's perspective. Then head over to Dan's podcast, the Cheer Biz podcast, to learn from a gym owner on how to run a successful cheer business. And of course, don't miss the Let's Talk Cheer podcast featuring Jason Larkins, the one that we all know and love, where they talk about cheer from a coach's perspective.
Which means whether you're a coach, a cheer parent, or a gym owner, we've got you covered. Find all 3 podcasts on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and stay tuned for new episodes each week.
Okay, now that I've thoroughly pissed at least 60% of you off, let's keep going. Here's another one. Okay, no, this is one. Here we go. This is one that I think, let's bring you back. Bring you back. Come on back. Let's talk about people who stop or walk aimlessly in the crowded spaces. If you've ever been to a big cheer event, it doesn't even have to be Summit or All-Star Worlds or NCA or cheer sport. Like, think of the biggest cheer competition that you've ever been in. You're walking down the main hallway to get where you need to go. The walls are lined with people doing hair and makeup. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of other people doing the same thing. They're on their way to a performance venue. They're on their way to a long snack bar line. They're on their way back to their car, to their hotel room. There are always people milling about. It's like an airport or a train station. If you were at an airport or a train station, you would not just mosey along at a snail's pace. You would walk with purpose. I'm asking you, all of you, parents, athletes, grandparents, aunts, uncles, staff people, please walk with purpose in these competition venues. Please walk with purpose. Don't just walk slow and like, oh, look at that. Like, we all have places to be, and you are bottlenecking. You're creating a bottleneck. Walk with purpose. Before you leave your seat or whatever area you're in, identify where you're going and how you're going to get there before you start moving your feet. If you're a person who gets distracted, that's what I'm asking you to do. If you were at Disney World and you wanted to get on the line, in the line for Big Thunder Mountain, you're not just gonna mosey, or maybe I'll stop for a churro and oh, look at the tree. No, you're walking to Thunder Mountain. And maybe you're talking to your friend. Maybe you're having a good time. It's about the journey, right? Yes. But you're walking with purpose. We have to walk with purpose at these things. We cannot mosey along. You can't just stop. That's one way to get real hurt. Don't just stop in the middle of what you're doing, of where you're walking with purpose. You're going to get run over. You're going to piss somebody off like me. Guys, please walk with purpose in these crowded spaces. Be mindful of the hundreds of people who are just trying to get where they're going to go. If your phone rings and it's your daughter who's like, where are you? I lost you. Don't just abruptly stop. Like, it's like in Finding Nemo. Like, get out of the current. Get out of the current to figure it out. Like, if you have to stop walking with purpose, get out of the current. Stand with the people doing their hair and figure it out then. Okay. I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay, next one. Most people are not going to agree with me on this one. I am except for maybe the theater junkies, the musical theater nerds like me, I am a stickler on these things. I thought that I could win this battle at some of the smaller events, but it has just gotten way out of control. But the walking around during performances is a huge pet peeve of mine. I know that some venues make it unavoidable, and I know that we have places to be, and there is always something going on at a cheer competition, and there will always be people walking around. But at least try to pretend or act like you care that a team is performing their 2 minutes and 30 seconds as you walk around. Now, I know that typically there's a VIP area where parents are right in front of the stage, or they have a good vantage point of their athlete's performance. I also know that the athletes can't see anything into the crowd, and so you walking around is inconsequential to them for the most part. It does not distract them like a symphony concert or a theater performance like it would for one of those things. I understand that. But you never know, from the cheer mom perspective, you never know if it's a cheer mom wanting to watch the competition, wanting to watch the other team in their division. I'm not going to go up with the parents in the VIP viewing area. I'm not a parent, but I sure as heck want to see every second of that other team's performance so that when my daughter gets done with her warm up, I can tell her how they did. Or if you're the cheer mom that like takes notes on, you print out the performance schedule or you have your notebook. I know you guys are out there. I see you. You take notes on every team in your division and how they did and what you were impressed with and what you think was a deduction. Be mindful of those people. But also, you never know if there is a relative with a disability who can't get to the VIP area. You just never know. And I think that it's just nice if we all pretend like it's not okay to walk around during a performance. Here's how I do this. So if it's unavoidable, some venues, especially the venues that are set up like an arena, that have the arena seating and there's the tunnel that you enter through. Sometimes they'll have security posted there and they try to keep people at bay until the performance is over. I think that happens most frequently when there's not a VIP viewing area, which I appreciate. But if you're, for example, if you're in that arena style area, like just stand in the opening and wait for that performance to be done before you go and find your seat. It's just a nice gesture. If you are in a big convention center area and you have to get up and go, like duck down, like bend over and at least like, oh, sorry, like I'm not trying to get in someone's way. But you guys who are, again, oblivious to what is happening around you and are just wandering around and then standing in front of people and standing in front of people who are seated and just talking to your friends, I bet you're the same people who are stopping in the middle of the East Australian current. You're the same people who are bottlenecking the crowds. Stop it. At least try to keep in mind that there may be someone behind you who would like to see the performance on stage. Don't assume that everyone who wants to watch the performance is in the front in the VIP viewing area. Going down the list, I'm sure that we are not the only sports parents who do this, but having been to so many of these cheer events now, as someone who sees what the venue looks like before the doors open and sees what the venue looks like as they are tearing it down and moving the chairs, I am aghast at the amount of mess that is left behind. I was raised to leave things better than how you found them. So maybe this is another old-fashioned idealist thing, but the amount of garbage, literal garbage, sodas, nachos that have been not just spilled, but stomped and smeared into carpet, the glitter, you name it, the mess that we leave is discouraging to say the least. We've all been there where you're in a rush, you forgot that you left your drink behind. Oh my gosh, guys, the Stanley Cups that show up in the Lost and Found at these event venues. Holy cow, I could make a fortune. Wow, there are thousands of dollars worth of Stanley mugs and hydro flasks left behind at these competitions. And I was talking to one of the events, like the venue staff, and I always like joke about like, yeah, it's a cheer competition, like sorry in advance. And that most of the time they're used to how it works at a cheer competition. And I made a joke about something like, us cheer moms and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh no, it's not you guys aren't bad. It's the lost and found after these events is what surprises us. Like the amount of things that are left behind and that are of extreme value. Anyway, I understand what it's like to forget that you left your Diet Coke sitting at your chair. But some of this, you guys, can we just spend, I'm talking 15 seconds to look around the space before we leave it and make sure we are leaving it the same, if not better, than how we found it. Please. And I know that there's an issue with overflowing trash cans or being in a hurry, but we want people to want us back and we want people to like us. Well, I want people to like the cheer industry as a whole. I don't want people to dread having a cheer event at their venue. And I know that it's probably the same for lacrosse or volleyball or other sports, and we all leave things behind, and these workers are probably used to it. But wow. I didn't realize that my list of pet peeves was this long, but I'm going to keep going. Okay. Let's talk about the cheer backpacks. Those ginormous, could fit your entire life into it, sparkly, loud, covered in pins, covered in medals, cheer backpacks. I'm not talking about the fact that they're parked in a seat or lined down the hallways, because most of the time that is not the case. And I'm not even talking about the athletes wearing the backpacks. I'm talking about the cheer parents and wearing your kid's backpack while they are at warm-ups or at their performances. We've all been there. I get that. I'm talking about your lack of space awareness with your backpacks. Even the tiniest 6-year-old who has a backpack as big as she is knows not to swing around with the backpack in tow. She has some spatial awareness. You adults wearing those cheer backpacks have no spatial awareness. And I'm not even just talking about from personal experience. Like, I've been whacked with a backpack, but I see it happen every day. The parent just like swings around or picks up. You guys, you have to channel your inner Ninja Turtle. You're wearing a huge turtle shell when you put on your child's cheer backpack. You have to know, give yourself an extra 2 to 3 feet before you back up, before you swing around. That thing is dangerous. Moving back into the performance venue, you know that feeling when the routine hits, they've gotten through the pyramid, and all that's left is the dance. The crowd is going wild. The parents have this rush. That's about the time that we start crying. If the routine hits, that is an exciting moment. That last 10 to 15 seconds before the routine is over, and we're so excited and we're clapping along with the dance. I want you guys to be aware of this. And once you hear me say this, you're not going to be able to unhear it. You're not going to be able to unsee it. I guarantee you that you will notice it every time it happens now. Forgive me, I have no rhythm, but I am a drummer's wife. And when my husband pointed this out to me, I could never unsee it or not notice it again. And that is when we are clapping with the dance and we clap ahead of the beat. It's like the one thing that the cheerleaders can pick up from the crowd. Earlier I mentioned they can't really see us. Sometimes, depending on the venue, they can hear us when we're yelling. But one thing that they really can hear and see is when we are clapping, because we don't just like golf clap, we don't just church clap, no pun intended. We don't just awards, school awards clap. We're like clapping, right? We're like clapping over our heads. We're jumping up and down. We are rushing the beats. We get so excited that we rush the beats, and it throws the kids off sometimes. It's not our fault. We're excited. If you're like me, you don't have rhythm. We can't always hear the music. So we can't always clap with the music. But you know who can hear the music? The coaches. So you know what I do when I am, and I'll admit, I don't do this when it's my own child's team, but when I'm with another team or I'm clapping with another team, watch the coaches and the beat that they're clapping on. Okay. I'll admit that was nitpicky and it's like not that big of a deal. But now that I've said it, you guys are going to be able to notice it, and you're welcome for creating that complication in your cheer day life. The last two things, pet peeves, competition day etiquette, whatever you want to call it, they're kind of related. So, athletes and moms and coaches and directors, I think we all need to hold each other accountable. But specifically athletes. I have never put on a cheer uniform, but I have seen enough cheer uniforms and I've been around the sport long enough to understand how uncomfortable those things really can be. They sure are beautiful, but I know that they are tight and itchy and they rub, and those beautiful sequin collars they make you feel like you can't breathe, especially after you perform and you're sweaty and you're probably a little dehydrated or puffy and you just want to get out of that thing. Or at minimum, you want to get out of those skin tight spandex blend sleeves because you're so hot, especially those that have like the choker and the peekaboo shoulder and those skin tight sleeves. I see a lot of athletes that pull their arms out of the sleeves or hack their uniform into where they're like half wearing it, but there's some sleeves dangling down, or they tie the sleeves behind their neck. You guys know what I'm talking about. I understand that you are hot and uncomfortable, but it doesn't look cute, girl. It doesn't look cute. It looks like you're halfway dressed. It looks like if I'm wearing a sweater, if I just like pulled my arms out of my sweater, it's the same thing. It's just not a good look. It's not professional. Can we quickly change into a warm-up jacket after we perform and put the uniform back on for award? And if there's not time to do that, can we stick it out just a little bit longer to not be running through a competition venue with arms and sleeves flinging all over the place? And I'm not just talking about older kids. The young ones, too, are hacking their uniforms in a way that is not a good look for them, is not a good look for cheer. It's not a good look for your gym. On that note, if you are changing, call me old-fashioned again, but changing in public should not be a thing at a convention center venue. Maybe it's okay at your gym. Maybe it's okay in other contexts, but you never know who's walking through those venues. You just never know. There are 24 bathrooms in those places. There are quiet places. I have never been to a competition venue, including NCA, including cheer sport, including Summit and Worlds. I have never, ever been to a venue where I haven't been able to find a quiet, secluded place where there is almost no foot traffic. I've always been able to find that. And I encourage you to find that spot for yourself. At the venue, preferably the day before you get there. Like, identify a spot that you can be out of sight, out of the way. If you need to do hair and makeup, if you need to change and the bathroom is full of people doing hair and makeup as well, find a spot where you can make those things happen. But changing out in the open, I just don't think it's necessary. If you feel it's necessary, bring a pop-up changing tent. I'll send you the link on Amazon if you want it. I have a pop-up changing tent. Folds down, pops up, they can step in, they can do what they need to do. But I just don't think that there's so much going on that you just have to strip down where everybody can see, whether you're a 4-year-old cheerleader or a 14-year-old cheerleader. Okay, guys, please know that I am not sitting here in judgment. I joke a lot. These are pet peeves, but if I see you doing these things at a cheer competition, know that I am not silently judging. I am not shaming you. I love you no matter what. Unless you stop walking right in front of me, then you will get my irritated face. Then if I'm in a mood or if I'm tired, you might even hear my irritated, I'll never pop off. I will never judge. I love you all. I know that we are all doing the best that we can. But, maybe you learned something new. Maybe you didn't realize something in this episode was a thing. Maybe you have pet peeves of your own. I would actually like to hear your pet peeves and what you would like to see improve at cheer competition events. So if that's you and you've got one, then pop into the Facebook group at the Cheer Mom Hive, leave a comment in Spotify, leave it in a 5-star review. I appreciate all of you. Mwah. Hope to see you at a cheer competition soon. I've been to all of these so far, but we have Orlando, Palm Springs, Chicago, Phoenix, Anaheim. So many cities left for this 23-24 season. I am looking forward to seeing you and meeting you. It's been a blast so far. And if I don't see you at an event soon, I will be here next week with a new podcast episode. Love ya. Bye.